Time now to go to Big Ozzie Jurek here. Looking forward to it. Ozzie, I was thinking of you this week because I was sort of doing a quick scope of property prices, not just in Canada, but also in different parts of the world. And I thought you'd be my guy who'd know what's going on. So let me just ask you to just put some perspective on pricing in Canada. What's going on in Europe, for example?
Well, the interesting thing is that on the show, you and I in 2014 talked about that when I just came back from Europe, that I saw prices were really starting to move in Berlin and Dublin and places you normally don't hear about. And a lot of my subscribers said, Ozzie, you don't know what you're talking about because in Germany you have rent controls, prices never go up. Well, last year Berlin went up 15%, Rotterdam went up 15%, Edinburgh went up 12%, Budapest went up 14%. And Knight Frank UK consultancy sort of looked at all of Europe. Now, the interesting thing is it's the big cities, because when you look at the United Kingdom, 8 cities, average increase is 5%. So Edinburgh might not be up 12, but the average increase is far lower. And that's similar to Canada, where we have the places like Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver with the big price jumps, and that's slowing down, and the rest of the country not necessarily following in the same way.
Well, it's funny with Vancouver, though. I guess any city you could say this in. I mean, the key is to look at the performance. Really, the slowdown's taken place in the last 3 to 6 months. So that's kind of interesting to take it within that. When we compare to a year ago, it still hadn't slowed down. So obviously, when you look at single detached housing in Vancouver, for example, you look at the last few months, there's no progress being made there. In fact, there's been a drop. Toronto experienced the same thing. So I'm always a little leery of that when I look inside that. But I'm interested to see that the UK houses, you looked at 8 cities there, did well despite Brexit, because we were told that because of Brexit, you'd see a real change.
Well, and that's so true. Everything seems to be surprising. But since 1998, my very simplistic economic argument has been that if you keep on printing money like crazy and that money competes with the money you and I earn, things of hard asset value go up. And since we increased this through QE 1, 2, 3, this not printing but creating money out of thin air, hard assets seem to have really soared. You look in Vancouver, average price in 2008 was only $800,000, and up to 2008, the increases were sort of more steady. But since 2008, we sort of really started to move until 2010. Our average price was $1.2 million, and now, from in the last 6 years, we added almost $600,000 in value to get to that $1.8 million single-family home average. So it almost seems like a direct correlation of how much money we put in the market. I know it's not that simple, but there is something there.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right, by the way. There's a relationship there. But there's one other aspect, too, that's kind of interesting. I'm thinking of Vancouver, where they said there was a ton of foreign buying. Well, I'm thinking if I'm an American, I haven't really made much money because, since 2013, there's been a 30% plus adjustment in the currency. So the first 30% of gains anyways were eliminated when I convert back to the U.S. And it had me wondering also about U.S. prices too. Seattle, for example, they were going to be a big beneficiary when BC adds in and we said it on the air very clearly here, when BC introduced the foreign buyers tax, we said, hey, no problem. Look for Toronto and look for Seattle to participate in that. So what about the U.S. market?
Well, the interesting thing is Seattle is the number one market in the U.S. as far as price increases are concerned, clocking in 13% higher. The average of the 15 U.S. cities that were in this British survey were up about 7%. When you consider that our official inflation rate is supposed to be 2%, 7% is actually quite good. But look at San Francisco. Over $10 billion of real estate investment just in 2017. Some of these markets are far larger, and they're still, San Francisco was number 2 in price increases. They're rising. Yet you can go to Houston and still buy a nice condo for $80,000, and Phoenix $120,000. We have right now in our property for $120,000, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,000 square feet in a beautiful suburb with a swimming pool. So there's still good deals there. We have gone a lot further ahead than the U.S. has.
Do you have some hot properties for me? You just whetted my appetite.
Well, we got a big, unique one. It's in British Columbia, just west of Williams Lake. There's 2 houses for the price of one. Plus, they're sitting on 71 acres. One is an expensive log home. Another one is custom built. Both are over 2,600 feet. Huge farm outbuilding, 78 acres, lake frontage, and the price is like a Vancouver condo, $799,000.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if that area is recovered from the wildfires last year, or this is where you get your deal.
Well, it's, of course, when I say 50 minutes west of Williams Lake, it's out there, but it's on a paved road. It's not really sort of hidden away, but some money was spent here because the log home apparently it's an expensive log home where the value alone is what they're asking, so.
Well, it's a great area, absolutely great area, and I'm happy to see the recovery there from last year. Any others for us? Because we got to go here.
Yeah, we got an Ocean View duplex lot in Nanaimo. It's just been reduced to $149,000. That's it. Where
you go. Ozzie, you can go to Jurock.com, by the way, JUROCK.com. Just click on the hot property button. Just things that Ozzie thinks are very interesting. Of course, you got to do your due diligence on them. Ozzie, go out and have a terrific weekend. What a gorgeous weekend.